back to the Business Simple podcast. I am your host, James. I'm pretty sure I say this with every episode, but I'm really excited for this one. I have Sam Gibson from Impact Films. Sam is someone that I've done a lot of work with over the years. I've been lucky enough to help with some things as well over the years. We've had a relationship for a long time. He's been someone that I've always really admired as far as work ethic and hustle and just commitment to what he's doing. He's someone that I've been lucky to be able to see develop and grow and become more capable as time goes on. And I think he has a really powerful story for anyone who wants to know whether they should just go or not. And that's probably the big thing that I've seen with you. I've been like I said, I've got to see you grow, which has been really cool. I'm really excited to hear your story in a little bit more depth, because I realized when I was writing the questions for this that I don't actually know how you started. I don't know any of that stuff. So I'm excited to hear that, and I'm sure the listeners will be the same. But yeah, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. So why don't we then, just in the name of starting at the start, how old were you when you started Impact Films?
Well, I would have been probably 17. So how it originally started is it was sort of just like a side project, right? So I was in high school, was really into making things in my granddad's garage, and I wanted to get into video, so I thought, why not start like a YouTube channel or something like that, right? So started a YouTube channel in high school. And my first ever video, real random niche, but it was how to make a throwing knife. And so you wouldn't expect that. And so I made a 12-minute long video, how to make a throwing knife, and that video soon got like over 100,000 views within like a few short months. And so I was like, man, this is like cool. Like, this is working. Like, it's getting views. And from there, just kept making videos, and was making tomahawks and katanas and stuff like that. And from there, my parents were getting a bit worried about the fact that I was making weapons.
Yeah.
What are you preparing for? What is this? So I thought, okay, yeah, maybe change up the niche. And so from there, went and started doing, because I was really into my fitness at the time. For people that don't know, my dad owns a gym, so I was like, in the gym from like 9 years old, just fucking hustling in there. So had built up a bit of a physique by that age, and so I created a transformation video showing my transformation from like 9 years old to like 15, which is how old I was at the time of making that video. And that video got like over 1 million views on YouTube, and so I was like, man, like this YouTube thing, it's going to be the thing, going to be a YouTuber, going to have millions of subscribers and stuff like that. But I got to a certain stage where I was just making videos, and then they weren't getting views. They're getting 1,000 views, 2,000 views. And when you've got a video that does have 1 million views, you know what's possible. And then like that was a video I didn't really put much effort into. And so you've got all these other videos that you're putting all this effort into, and then only getting like 1,000 views. So I sort of just took a back seat. I was like, right, I enjoy making videos, but maybe the YouTube thing isn't quite for me. Maybe it's just like, I just got lucky. So from there, I was like, right, how can I actually turn this thing into like a business? Like, I've built up this skill now. Like, I've just, obsessed on it for ages. I know the ins and outs. And so I said to my dad, would your gym need some videos and stuff? So he's like, oh, yeah, we can do that. And so we started creating these inspirational member testimonials. And the first one we did for this older guy, 89 years old, still in the gym, just pumping iron. And we did that, and that got 100,000 views on their YouTube channel. I was like, man, okay, I've got something, like I'm good at this. And then from there, I was like, right, I need to upgrade my equipment, but I didn't have any money. I was a broke 16-year-old. Yeah. And I said to Dad, look, could we do like a trade? You buy me some new camera equipment, and then I give you like a year's worth of content. And at the time, I didn't realize how much of work that would go into a year's worth of content. But he got me equipment, and that's when I started Impact Films.
Nice. And how did the transition between gym work, and then obviously real estate is your main niche now. How did that happen?
So started with all the gym stuff. So with Dad's gym, that was sort of my time to just hone my craft a little bit more and actually create videos for businesses, and to run ads, and started helping them create ads as well, and learned a little bit of Facebook advertising on the back end of that. But from there, I just started cold calling other gyms in America, because I was like, right, I can't just have Dad as my only client. I need to actually go out there and make a name for myself. So just started cold calling different businesses. Got 9 no's, and then the the 10th call of the day, which was my last one, it was a yes. He said, right, meet me next week. And that was a little private gym called Limit Zero, and then did my first proper paid gig with them. And then I was like, right, this could be something. And then what actually happened is I started creating these videos for gyms, and then had shiny object syndrome, and I started seeing clips for drop shipping and clips for online courses and all these other business models, and I kind of got distracted away from Impact Films. And so I spent probably the next 2 years just wasting my time trying to do drop shipping, trying to do all these other business models, and nothing was working. And it wasn't until I was at my dad's gym, I was now a qualified PT, and I was just working at the reception, and it was just, I remember the day, and I was just making protein shakes for all these people, and it was just one after the other after the other. I was like, man, this is too many protein shakes to make it in one short span. And then I calculated how much did that make the gym? And it was $300, and I was like, well, that's just $5 of my hourly rate right there. So I'm like, nah, I can't work for anyone else. I need to do my own thing. And so that sparked up the idea again of Impact Films, which had been laying dormant for about a year. And I said to Dad, look, I want to do this. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to move out of home. And I just went all in. You're not going to take the island if you don't burn your boats. So it's right, just jump into it. So left home, $2,000 to my name, and got down to my last $10. And was thinking of okay, who am I going to reach out to borrow some money? Maybe I can ask my flatmates, can you cover me for the week? I'm hopefully going to get an invoice paid. And luckily someone paid that invoice early. It was $200. It was enough to get me through, and then from there just scaled up like crazy. Just month after month was just up and up and up. And the transition from at that stage, I was doing still a lot of commercial stuff, but then one of my friends got into real estate. He said, look, real estate videos, let's do them. I was like, nah, that's boring as you're just filming a bloody cube. No, there's nothing to it. And I did it just for him, to be honest. And I was like, oh yeah, that was actually kind of easy. And he was like, oh, I was like, what do I charge? And what's usual? And he said, oh, $300. I said, oh, okay, well that's pretty good. That took me 3 hours, $100 an hour. And from there, just kept doing it. Just started cold calling lots and lots of agents every day. Hustled, and lots and lots of no's. But just started getting some more high profile clients John Fulton. Shout out John Fulton. He was one of my first bigger ones, and just these people gave me a shot, and here we are.
Nice.
Today.
And what does today look like for you? How's business? How's things going? And also, how old are you now?
23 now.
23?
Yeah. So 23 now. Business is just crazy at the moment. We've pretty much doubled every year from 2022, I think. So it's just been a constant upwards trajectory, which has been good. So at the moment it's about 5 shoots a day. So working with the top real estate agents in the country, and yeah, just producing really good content for them.
Cool. Great. And it's just you?
Just me at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, plans to grow.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Nice. So what is the obviously, and me and you have discussed this before. I was lucky enough to employ people early in my business journey, and I got obsessed with employing people, and it hurt me because I employed too many people at points, and I'm lucky I've still never made anyone redundant, but I've had to scrap and bite down at points because of overheads and things like that.
Yeah.
What's it like what's a day in the life like as a 23-year-old doing 5 video shoots a day? How do you keep up with the workload? Obviously that's pretty good cash coming in. I mean, a lot of people your age would be doing that kind of daily revenue a week. What's that like? What's your day in your life like? How's everything going?
So it starts in the morning, waking up pretty tired from a big work day the day before. Usually the first shoot's around 9 a.m. and we're just back to back from about 9 a.m. through till probably 6. And if there's like a twilight shoot in there as well, that's another shoot from 7:30 to 8:30. So it's a full day of shooting, and how I look at it is my day is split up into 2. So you got the first half of the day, which is just shooting, nothing else. And then the second half of the day is from about 6 p.m. through to about 2 a.m. of just editing.
Yeah.
And so, being a one-man band with this much workload, you just got to be as efficient as possible, lots of caffeine as well, and just hustle your face off, outwork everyone else, because at the end of the day, a great service is everything. Like if your clients are getting work back that same night and they're receiving it, they're getting an email at 2 a.m, they're like, man, this guy is a hustler. We want to keep this guy on because he gets it. So I think it's a lot of work, but it's all worth it.
And look, on that, and I've spoken about hustle culture on here, and I'm definitely someone who grew up in that environment. I've heard a lot of people over the 6.5 years that I've been doing this say, I just wake up and I work and I go to sleep, and I've sort of throughout the years been like, there are very few people. Things are a little bit different now with the baby, but when I was on, there were very few people that could hang with me in terms of I would start earlier, finish later, just go. I've also had periods where I've been really lazy, but I when I was on.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people exaggerate the amount of work they do from some sort of bravado sense, and I can say wholeheartedly, without a shadow of a doubt, that there is no exaggeration in what you just described in any way, shape or form. I've worked with you. I've seen edits come through at 1:30 in the morning. I've seen things like that happen, and to be fair, it's probably helped me at points. I think that the same way as I would be nervous if I was starting an agency and going up against myself, I would be nervous if I was a real estate videographer stepping into that industry. There's you and there's some other people in that market that we'll talk about later on that are seriously capable, not just high work ethic, but super intelligent. That is a rare combination, especially at your age. And I definitely don't think that at 23 I was as switched on by any stretch. I definitely don't think. Actually, at 23, my entertainment bill for the year was about $100,000. So I was intelligent enough to have money coming in, but not intelligent enough to deploy my time correctly or do the things that I should have been doing. So it was anyway, so obviously we've covered off how you got started in videography. We've covered off how you found real estate. You've achieved a lot for your age. How do you treat, this is completely off script already, but I'm just interested hearing your story. How do you treat, what do you do with money coming in? I have huge volumes of cash that come into the business, right? Astronomical amounts of money that it's hard to get your head around sometimes. Yeah. But I have also got really high overheads. I've also got, big tax bills, big wage bills, big things like that kind of keep me leveled out. Yeah. What do you do? What do you do? What do you use the money for? What are you into? What are the things that you find really fulfilling about earning that kind of cash? Are you just stacking it? Are you investing it? What's happening?
I have a unhealthy obsession with spending money, but also an unhealthy obsession with making it. So Yeah, I think for me, like the past couple of years of just like earning all this money and you're just seeing like these massive amounts coming every month. For me, it's been at the start just like pouring it all back into the business, right?
Yep.
Just upgrading my equipment. Like I've got the best equipment that you can get.
Yeah.
And then you sort of run out of equipment to buy. Like, I mean, sure, you know with these cameras, like how expensive you can go with them.
Yeah.
But you just run out of stuff to buy. Like you've got the best of what you can get. So I think for me, like I've really enjoyed just the freedom that the money gives you. Like just going out there and, you know, going on holidays. You know, like I remember the first time I really felt like rich was when it was probably 2023 last year during Easter, and I said to my girlfriend, we didn't have any plans for Easter, and I said, oh, why don't we just pack up our things and go to Queenstown? Like, let's just go there, you know, why not? And she's like, oh, okay. And so we went there and just like, you know, stayed in like the nicest hotel and, you know, got you know, the nicest dinners and stuff. And it's just like, that wasn't even a thought, you know what I mean? Like, just not even thinking about the money. It was just like, I want to do this thing and I'm going to do it. And like, I'm not going to have any bad feelings about it. Because like back, like, you know, a few years ago, like the thought of spending that much money would just like make my stomach turn.
Yeah.
But now it's just like, if you want to do something, just do it. But yeah, I think for me it's just about experiences and the freedom. But now I'm sort of switching gears and going more into like a minimalistic mode of my life, because like, you know, I've sort of felt like I've had my fun, I've done the holidays, I've done all that, and now it's just time to, right, how far can I take this? How big can I grow it? And so now it's just like I've been pouring lots of money into investments and looking at, we are merging with another videographer in Christchurch, another guy doing similar numbers to me, and yeah, the idea will be to grow that into the biggest real estate marketing business in the country. So
It's like I said at the start, I wouldn't want to be competing against you too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, and I'm pleased that we sit in different lanes. I know there's a lot of hustle across the two of you, so I'm really excited. I only found out about that, by the way, just before this episode started.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, I'd had a thought about it earlier today. I don't know why. I was thinking about you when I was writing the questions for this, and I was like, man, that'd be a powerhouse. And then so anyway, that's really exciting to see how that will go and what you'll be able to turn it into. I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Hey, so what have been like the biggest challenges you faced? Obviously, with scaling, you can outwork a lot, but it doesn't make it easier. And so what have been the things that you found really difficult with that? I doubled every year as well, by the way. So I did. It was I believe it was 4 straight years, and then 2 years in a row afterwards where I added over 50% to top line.
Yeah.
It was about, that would be about bang on where it was. And I know what growth like that feels like. And it's one of those ones where people look at you and they go, man, that must be nice. But I know that there's a lot about it that although you're super appreciative of at the time, and you strike me as someone who is incredibly grounded, like talking about something, say like a Queenstown holiday as being I get that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget stories like that I've got of myself. I'll never forget picking up my dream car. I'll never forget things like that happened throughout buying my watch, like things like that, where I had pictures of these on my walls for years. I had all that sort of stuff beforehand. So I like that. I like the groundedness. But what have the hard periods been like?
Yeah, the hard periods are just like those insane work weeks where you just like, you're looking at it and you're going, fuck, that's a lot of money, but fuck, I know what's in store for me. It's just, the workload, the stress, like, I'd say the biggest, like, I guess, obstacle or pain point or whatever you want to call it is just the stress levels. Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, success and stress are, like, directly linked. Like, the more success you get, the more stressful it's just going to be. that's just something you got to accept. You just got to accept, like, this is just going to be hard. Like, this is just the new normal, right?
Yeah.
And just using it to your advantage, like, just, keeps you alert, keeps you focused and stuff. So, it's just learning to deal with that workload and the new stress that comes with success.
Sure. What do you think about? Because I've got two sort of concepts I want to touch on along those lines. The first one is, I believe that highs and lows expand in like connection with each other. So when you're starting here, right, this might be your middle, and your highs like a 1 and your lows like a -1. And then by the time your high becomes a 20, your low is a -20 in conjunction with it.
Yeah.
And I think the swings just get bigger as time goes on. I also think that your body develops a capacity to handle stress that you didn't even know. And like, I know this now, having say like a 3.5-month-old at home. I slept for 4 hours last night, like 11 till 3. That's it. And if you told me that 6 months ago, and then I'd come in here and recorded 5 podcast episodes, and I'm looking after little man tonight, Jen's going out for dinner, so she's coming to the office, we're swapping, I'm going home, I'll look after him, bath him, put him down, clear emails, like all off, I'd be like, you're mental. There's no possible way I would be able to handle that. But if you just don't care about how you feel along the way, you adapt really quickly. Like if you're like, this is probably going to hurt a little bit, but that's okay, because like the money's good, or this is deeply fulfilling, or this is what I want to be doing, or whatever it is. I feel like your body adapts quite quick.
I think you learn how to like dissociate it to some extent. Like you're just in it, and like it's happening, and there's no other choice. Like you don't have a choice with that, really, do you? Like you're stuck in it, so it's just like, of course you're going to make it work. And just, it is what it is.
Well, you do have a choice. You either perform or you underperform. But underperformance isn't an option.
No.
When you've got that, you're like, oh, right, okay.
Well, I think it's the standards then, isn't it? You just, if you hold yourself to such a high standard, and like your clients also hold you to such a high standard because you've already set it for yourself, it's who you are, it's your identity. You can't stoop below that. Otherwise you just ruin your reputation.
For sure.
And I think that's something that I've probably focused on throughout my journey, is just like reputation is like everything. Like you said, you even you saying like, you've received videos from me at like 1 a.m. Like I love that shit, knowing that all my clients like pick up on that sort of stuff. And that's just what's expected of me. I think if you can go into business just knowing that shit counts, you'll make it.
I'm going to go so far off script. I just got an idea, right? Because this is something I talked about with someone earlier today, and I'm really interested in your thoughts on it. Do you believe that your ability to hire staff is almost limited by your work ethic? Because you can't really expect a staff member to operate the way that you operate. Would you set a bad precedent for them? Do you have intentions of staff and getting out of the money for time thing? Like, what are your thoughts around that?
Like definitely looking at bringing on staff, and like me and Graham are already in talks of it, and like bring on an operations manager, and we've got some contractors ready to go, so it's definitely on the cards. But I know I can't expect the same work ethic from them. There's ways of incentivizing them to do so, revenue splits or whatever, but man, no one's just there's few people that have the same work ethic anyway. I just know I can't expect it from them.
If they had it, they'd be you.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Like if they had it, they'd be in the same position. They wouldn't be worth hiring. So
well, it'd be impossible.
Exactly. Too expensive.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. And then how do you? And I know that this is something that I've experienced, and I've got my ways of managing it. But how do you just handle like that turnaround pressure, that volume pressure, day in, day out? What do you do to recover, to keep yourself in the fight? What are the techniques used for that?
For me, it's like, right, I've got 5 shoots on Monday, I've got 5 shoots on Tuesday, I've got 5 shoots on Thursday, maybe I have like 3 on Friday. I have no option to put off edits to the next day. Like real estate agents need stuff turned around quickly, very quick. So if I'm doing 5 shoots on the Monday, the only time to get it done is that night.
Yeah.
There's no other time to get it done. I can't get up super early because, then I'll be way too tired anyway. And then, can't do it that night because then I've got 5 videos on that day to edit that night. So I think it's just like making it impossible for you to not do the thing, just like it's either that or you go out of business and you're done for. So I think it's just making it the only option. Is how I've learned to deal with it.
Nice. And what do your weekends look like?
Weekends, I usually work a little bit on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like Saturday will just be finishing anything that hasn't been done. Getting back to any emails that didn't need getting back to fast. Just sort of tidying up the week. There's so much happens during that 5-day period. It's just nice to just have that day where you can just like kind of soft landing, right?
Yeah.
And then Sunday, I'll usually try and take that off.
Yeah.
But if stuff needs to happen on, I'll do it. But try to take Sundays off and might go out for brunch with the missus or go to the family's place for dinner and just kind of do nothing.
Nice,
switch off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that if you correctly relax one day a week, it's better than the average weekend. Like, I think the average person's weekend, they go out drinking Friday, they go out drinking Saturday, they roll into Monday feeling worse than someone who probably just worked through the weekend and didn't even stop because they haven't damaged their sleep and done all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And,
don't get me wrong though, I do love to have a drink every now and again.
And as you should, right? You've earned it. And I think that's a big thing that for people that are, I think we have a lot of similarities in the way that we view things and the way that we think. And I think for me, nothing feels worse than drinking when I don't feel like I deserve it. Yeah. And nothing feels better than doing it when I do. It's the same with holidays. Yeah. It's the same with all that stuff. Yeah. If you're celebrating a really big win, I'm picking up a car tomorrow that I've been a long time in the works. I first started looking at them 4 years ago, almost exactly. On a car trip I was on, I drove one and I was like, I gotta own one of these. Nah. It's I'll let everyone see. But it was my car that I was considering alongside an R8, and then it's become it's more my style now anyway.
Right.
But also I found out that you can put a Nuna capsule with a baby in the back seat. I tested it out, so I can technically take Arch for drives in it and things like that as well.
Yeah.
Whereas I couldn't do that in something else. So that feels good when it feels deserved, right? When you turn up and you're like, man, I bit down over the last 2 years or whatever. I mean, I sold all my cars. We had a huge tax liability. I was in a spot where I didn't know how we were going to go through. Like, it just scaled so much bigger than I was ready for, so much faster.
Yeah.
I was, not much older than you, probably maybe 25, doing give or take 2.5 mil a year in turnover, 15 staff. Like, I didn't know what that was. And I didn't understand. I didn't get how that stuff worked. Like, and obviously figured out, but I had this huge liability that I had to clear. And I'd told myself last year when I was like, right, we're doing this. We're biting down. We're going to clear this thing. That once I'd done it, I was going to buy an R8. This was before I found out about Arch. And so we cleared it.
Yeah.
But I was like, it doesn't feel right biting an Audi R8 when I know that I've got a kid due in 3 months. And it just didn't. I thought, do you check it off? But I couldn't even really enjoy it with Jen because she was pretty pregnant. And I was like, nah, it's just not right.
Yeah.
So I bought myself a suit instead, which didn't quite scratch the itch. It didn't quite. So anyway, but it's one of those ones where it's like, it feels cool. Like going to pick it up tomorrow. I've got no, I told myself I had to do something and I did it. And so now I'm able to go and do the thing that I said I was going to do.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Whereas if you just go do it, it doesn't.
Nah, not at all.
Nice. What do you think sets your real estate videography apart from others in the industry?
I think what sets it apart is just the fact that, people know it's a Sam Gibson video when they watch it. Like, it's just, it's become such a staple in the industry. like the quality that's expected at the higher end.
Yeah.
I think, like, man, watching, I won't say what companies, but watching other people's videos that were done, and it was just like, man, this is just so boring. Like the old, panning like this of a room and just this weird like electronic music playing in the background that just does not fit the property. I think it was just like really shaking up what was normal, and just coming into it with just every listening at a drone video like that. Even that wasn't really a thing, and now it is. Music that actually fits the property, and the flow of the video feels nice. The actual shots that are listed out throughout are just like, they make sense. It's just not just like a random shot here and then random shot here. Pet peeve was always seeing videographers who would like focus in on the flowers on the table in the room. It's like, we're not selling the flowers here. Doesn't even come with the property. So I think just like noticing all those like bad things people were doing, I thought, what would be the perfect video, and that's what I'm doing now.
Right.
And it's just been a constant, okay, what can I do better? What can I do better? And now, with Graham as well, like he's now going to that next level as well, of just like, what can I do better? What can I do better? Now we're just bouncing off each other, and it's just like become this thing of competing with each other. And now we're joining forces. So watch out.
You both do have a very distinct style. That's one thing that I'm interested to see how that will evolve over time, because I'd imagine they'll sort of merge in a sense. Although you'll obviously both bring your own customers in, but you both have a distinct style, and I'd like bits about both of them. So it'll be cool to see. It'll be cool to see how it all goes. How do you approach each project creatively and capture the unique qualities of like each property, each agent? How do you respond to their style and things like that at scale?
I think it's just like, first of all, like establishing what they like. So the first couple of videos with a new agent, it's usually just like fine-tuning what they like, understanding what music they like. Some agents like the hip-hop and like real like edgy music, and then others like the more cinematic, slow vibes. It's just like communicating with them, like, what do you like? Did you like that? Did you not like that? And sorry, could you repeat part of the question?
Just how you approach each project creatively off the back of that.
And then so when I like turn up to a property, for example, it's just like, man, okay, this is going to be like a slower type video. You can just, I know when you've been doing it for so long, you just know. You just turn up and like, it's like a second language to you. It's just like, right, okay, I know what shots are going to look good. We're going to go for more of a slow pace for this one, or we're going to go more edgy, cool vibe for this one. And then from there, just same with the shots. Like, there's no particular method. It's just, I know what looks good. And just, I think that the music is everything to me. That's one thing I've realized. It's like,
interesting.
The music really just helps sell the rest of the process. How I look at it is, it's like, it's the foundation of any video you create. The first thing you lay down on your editing timeline is the soundtrack, and then from there everything gets built on top. So starting with a really good soundtrack is always key.
Wow, because I literally think about, and I'm not, your way will be right, but whenever I think about, or I'm communicating with a client about a shoot that we're doing for an ad or anything like that, I'm always shot first, story first, and then it's interesting. I suppose it probably makes sense. I'm thinking about some of your videos, and I'm like, they do match the music, and I suppose it would be way easier to do with the music as the base than it would be with the shots and then trying to fit a song that fits.
It'd be impossible to do. That's why whenever a client's like, can we please change the music, I'm like, oh man.
Nice. What are, obviously you spoke a little bit about setting some trends. What are new trends that you see coming in real estate videography, and how are you adapting your work to stay ahead of them?
What I see coming in is like a lot of that like speed ramp stuff. You see Graham doing a lot of that now. It's just like, starting from outside the property and like speed ramping into the property. A lot of that's come from over in Aussie. So the best way to like follow trends and know what's going to be new in New Zealand is follow what Australia's doing. Just look at all the top agents over there, what they're doing for their production, and just sort of bring it over here, and then and now you're starting to see a lot more of that starting to happen in New Zealand, but I think a lot more agent focused listing videos as well, which is really good for them. It's way better for engagement on like Instagram and stuff as well, for like their reels and stuff. But yeah, just having some sort of B-roll of agents in the property video as well. Every video that I do that has that has way better engagement. Just doing stuff like that. Other than that, I think it's just things are just upping in like production quality every fucking month. Like I started doing a lot of the twilight transitions. I think it was like start of last year or something, and then now that's just like becoming like a really popular thing in Christchurch. So yeah, it's you just gotta try to be the first to do it.
Yeah, sure.
Be the one that does it. Be the one that does it the best.
Yeah.
And people will look at it and they go, "Oh man, that was clean."
Yeah.
Like, I love doing the twilights transition when we go from, people that don't know what that is. It's when you go from like a daylight shot to a daytime shot, or vice versa, of the property, and it's like in the exact same position. And so when you do it, you just like, you don't even have to do like a transition. It's just like you're cutting, and it looks like it's just like magic. That's I feel good when I see that.
Yeah. You mean daytime to nighttime?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
They are cool.
Yeah.
I also really like the stuff you do with John. Like I think you have a comprehensive view of it, where you shoot a reel, shoot a hero video, shoot you see there's different. It's staggered rather than just like one landscape video that just gets posted everywhere. It's appreciating how the platforms.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. Like me and John Fulton were actually like pretty much the first in Christchurch to start doing like Instagram reel versions of property videos. Like no one was doing them, and John, it was actually shout out John again. It was his idea to do it, and like just having that short 10-second clip that they can post on their Instagram. It's great for their brand. It's great for the property because it gets more people actually, going to go look at the full video.
Clever. I like it. Like I said, I and I know John. I'm lucky to know John.
Yeah.
He's a really good person. But seeing that work and how that all plugs in together, being a student of like media and like social and really understanding those platforms, I know how complex and challenging it is to execute that. I know that like it looks from the average punter just looking like, that's a cool video. They have no idea of the complexity of like shooting landscape for all of your shots, but then having to pick the shots that fit portrait. I know you stack sort of three on top of each other a lot, which I think is a really clever workaround for it. But like it's complicated. It's way harder than people would appreciate. And then it's just to post it as an Instagram reel. Like all that work goes in just for a reel. And people go, how could you possibly make sense of that? But then when you see the long term of like good, consistent, high quality content and things being executed at a high level, you realize what that does for brand and engagement and your perception in the market. And you go, it's actually probably the smartest thing you could do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Nice.
Just even just people, someone come across like John Fulton's page, for example, and they go click on the reel, it's like it's just perfect for them to just go, man, like this is cool. I want my property marketed like that.
Nice. What advice would you give to an aspiring videographer who wants to build a successful business like yours in what I'd consider to be a competitive field?
I mean, if you are talented and like you feel like you can make it, just biggest piece of advice is just find something that makes you unique, whether it's like super fast turnaround times like me, or just like you include like a twilight package in every video or whatever, just something that makes you stand out to start with, and then just start low with your pricing, just the Alex Hormozi sort of pricing strategy, free to fee to start with, and then from there just start low and just work your way up into the point where you're starting to get bookings after bookings, and then when you're getting two booked, just raise your rates again, getting two booked again, raise them up, and just find that sweet spot. And I've found that sweet spot for me, where I don't get any more clients, but I'm, getting paid what I believe I'm worth per shoot. So, yeah, just do that sort of pricing structure, and then other than that, just work your fucking ass off.
Yeah. I really want to dive into that start for free.
Yeah.
Or the, I see in my competition, and I'm sure this is similar to yours, because I think the archetype of a person who's starting a business up against me is similar to someone who's starting a business up against you. Mm-hmm. A disproportionate perception of self-worth versus actual worth. Mm-hmm. And I know that we overarchingly are a generation that's grown up being told that we can do anything that we, set our minds to, and those sorts of things. And I still believe that, mm-hmm. but I don't think that means you deserve anything you want at any point. Mm-hmm. We've done free work. We've done heavily discounted work. We work with businesses if they want to work with us, but they aren't sure. We don't need the business. Like we don't need it. If someone comes back to us and they go, I don't want to pay an onboarding fee or whatever, I could just be like, all good. It's not, like my lights will not be turned off based on one deal. No way.
Yeah.
But we have the humility to understand their perspective and to try to make something work with them. And this is even established, 20 million plus in managed ad spend, more than anyone that I'm aware of. We're still willing to work with people to make things happen. It really alarms me when I see people come through that have done respectfully nothing. And they're like, I know my worth. And you're like, it's zero. Your time is not valuable at this point in time. Yeah. I think if you're starting out, that's probably the piece of advice you'd want to hang on to.
Yeah, definitely. Because when I started out, I probably was the opposite. Like, I didn't think I was worth as much as I was actually worth, right? And so, I was stuck at like $300 a video for like years, for property videos. And it wasn't until I was like, man, I can't even do any more work, and that's when I'd already proved, like, this is a good product, people want it, like, people see the value in it. And then I just started raising it up to like 700 within, a couple months, and then people were still paying it. So I probably should have done it sooner, but it's just like, wait till you've proven yourself first, and then go out there and you can charge what you're actually worth.
Yeah, nice. And so that's your 700 a shoot, give or take. Nice.
Give or take.
Yeah, 5 shoots a day. It's pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, that's it. Like, you've come a long way in the time that I've known you, and congratulations. I know it's not. I know it looks easy, but it's not. I know what it's like on the other side. So, that's really respectable. Really respectable. It's a income level that a lot of people would love to be at. And I think it's well deserved. I think you probably work like 3 people and get paid like 3 people, and that's probably why it sort of lines up. But the pricing thing's been an interesting one for us too. We now, I won't go into numbers specifically, but our average retainer is rising really quickly, and we have a number of clients now where we get paid an amount that I would never think I wouldn't think you'd be able to do. Right, it doesn't even really make sense. And it's probably like 5 or 6 clients, and it would be 30-40% of our annual revenue just through, we have a lot of clients. That's a really small portion of, so there's a model for that, provided your product stacks up. That's the big thing. And I think just raising the prices for the sake of raising them is silly. Raising them because you want to increase the output, you want to provide an even greater level of, even greater ratio of expenditure to value, that sort of thing is a good decision to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, don't just raise your rates without isn't like people will just leave you straight away. Like, fun fact, when I raised my rates for all my clients, like, no one left, and so I just proved that, the way I worded it and the reasoning behind why I was actually increasing my rates, people were like, oh no, that's completely fair. Like, we see the value in that.
And so for someone who's in a position where they're tapped out busy, doesn't know how to raise prices, what was your wording? How did you explain that to people?
A little bit of help from ChatGPT, but but I sort of just was like, go guys, I've been doing this for this amount for this long. Like, you know, I've really enjoyed working with you. So you being like appreciative of, you know, the fact that, you know, that were the founding clients of yours, and they helped your business grow, like actually, you know, giving thanks to what they helped you build. And then from there, just saying, look, you know, we're wanting to grow the team, we're wanting to, you know, provide, you know, better service. Like we want to make sure we keep up these turnaround times, the quality. You know, we're going to invest in better gear and all that. We are, you know, raising our rates to this much as of this date. We totally understand if you need to go elsewhere. But, you know, we've been at this competitive rate for a while now. It's time we go to more of a fair market value of what we believe we're worth. You know, just sort of word it like that.
Yeah.
And just, you know, be open to conversations.
Yeah.
You know, had maybe one pushback and was like, kind of like, oh, can we work something around? And then I work something out with them, you know, like it just make it work.
Yeah.
You know, especially if they're a big client who, you know, brings in a lot of listings per week or whatever, make it work.
Yeah.
You know?
And they do. Big clients do deserve special treatment.
Yeah, they do.
That's the, like, and that's the other thing I don't like. People view big businesses like an opportunity to just like bank. Like they're like,
Milk
me,
it.
I'll milk it. And it's like, you know what happens if you do that? You get shown the door.
Yeah.
I've worked with Williams Corporation for, I believe it's over 5 years now. We've never had a contract in place.
No.
Not once.
Yeah.
So there is something happening there that, and I think probably a lot of people go like, oh, that must just be a nice contract to have, whatever it is. There's something happening there where there's a level of value that's being provided to them that they feel is worth it. And because they feel it's worth it, they keep us around. Our rates are higher than they were 5 years ago. We've you know, we're also lucky because they're really reasonable. But also, most people are really reasonable. That's sort of how it works. You know, they get it. They get that you're just trying to do your thing. You're working hard. You're just trying to make stuff happen. So
especially because most of them are business owners themselves, right? Or other high performers, so they get it.
They get it. They completely understand. They completely understand. What's the most important lesson you've learned in building your business that could help other young entrepreneurs?
Focus. Yeah, focus is the main thing. Like recently, as you know, reached a really good level with my main business, and you know, really happy with the revenue levels. And I was like, right, I need to figure out ways I can, you know, grow my income. And so I was looking elsewhere again, getting shiny object syndrome. Started all these new companies, and you know, put lots of time and effort and money, and just nothing really happened there. And I feel like I was just like kicking myself in the foot, just be like, man, like, why did I need to go out there and just, you know, try and start this other stuff? Why not just focus on the thing that's actually making money and just grow that? And so I think it's just realizing, like, whatever you do, just forget about everything else. Go all in on that one thing, 1000% focus, just tunnel vision, and then that's how you actually make something work. If you're trying to start all these other things, you're just not going to go anywhere.
I've had a lot of guests on this show. A lot of them have had the same thing. I've done it. I tore up 50 grand on a side business, like set it on fire. Set it on fire.
Go on.
And I'm real glad I did. I'm real glad I did,
Yeah.
because that hurt enough that I won't forget it. And this is why I'm glad it wasn't 5 or something like that, because it's not that 5 grand's no money. Like I respect money, but if it had been 5, I could just move on. 5's a punt. I spent 5 on press ads the other day to see if there was some boomers reading the newspaper that needed a hand putting their business online, right? So I like, didn't work, no stress. I won't lose any sleep over it.
So good.
50, it's enough. It's enough. So I will not step away. I will not step away.
Yeah.
It's
Completely agree with that. Like, when it stings, you go, fuck. Okay. No. That was like a nice watch, or you know, it's, you start thinking about all the things that you could have spent the money on that would have been better. Okay, we need to focus.
And also, the lesson is worth more than all that stuff anyway.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Because then you could have started another business that would have...
Could have done 200.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm also lucky because I got buddies who are like, I ripped up 3 million on that. And I'm like, what? So that helps me keep level-headed at points, I think. Yeah. Excuse me. Cool. We're kind of heading towards the end of this. So something that I want to touch on is, and you alluded to it earlier in this, what's next for you? What's next for Impact Films? What does that all look like for you?
Yeah, so just picked up keys to a new office as of this week. We're moving in tomorrow, and that's going to be Asian Terry. So it's going to be Asian Terry headquarters, and I'm shutting down Impact Films and merging with Asian Terry. So me and Graham want to build the biggest real estate video business in New Zealand, and hopefully expand out to Australia one day down the line. But yeah, our goal is just to create world-class property videos and just be the best, employ the best, just create a really good team and just set a new standard for it.
Nice. I'm really excited for you. I think it's going to be really cool. I think if at my sort of stage in business that was comparable to yours, if there'd been another person that I could have buddied up with and gone, I'd love to know where we'd be, because 1 + 1 often isn't 2, it's often 3 or 4, or and I look at my friends that have got business partners and the relationships they've got with them. You chop the pot, but the pot's often bigger. So it tends to sort itself out. Also, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I'm a big believer in both of you. I really respect both of you. I think that that's a really exciting thing. And like I said, I'm pleased I'm not in real estate videography. Cool, man. And probably then we'll go to the closing question. If you could go back, this, by the way, I ask everyone, and so I'm really interested in your answer. If you go back to the very start, right? Start of Impact Films, you could give yourself one piece of advice to shape your journey from that point onwards. What would that piece of advice be?
It's hard, because if I said the wrong thing, then it could be on a completely different trajectory. I'm guessing like the question is for someone that is starting the journey, right? Or
kind of.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah.
I think for me, for example, I would go back, and it's deliberately a hard question, by the way. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to make you think. I would tell myself to trust in my ability more, and I would think less about what other agency owners think of me, or whether what we're doing is best practice, or whether the quality of the product is there. And I would think more about the job we're doing for our customers, how we're perceived in the market by customers, because I spent a lot of time stuck, attached to places I used to work, or people's perception in the market, because I was unsure about our product. My intent was always right. I always wanted to do the right thing by people. I always would go the extra mile. I would base my confidence off that, and not off what people who have a biased interest think of me.
Well, in that case, I'd probably just tell myself to just go and just don't look back. Like, be more ambitious. There's a lot of points along my journey where I was just like, maybe I probably won't reach out to that client, a potential client, because they're too big, they wouldn't like my work. And so I think it's the same for me, is just like that self-confidence, just believing in what you do, and just like expand faster, grow faster, just like don't limit yourself to like your own inner voice, just go.
Nice. It's a great that's a great closing note. How can your listeners connect with you or learn more about your work in real estate videography?
Just follow me on Instagram. Just search up Sam Gibson. Should be the first one to come up, and give me a follow.
Cool. Awesome. Hey, thank you so much for joining. That lived up to all of my excitement for this episode. It was cool, man. I really enjoyed hearing your story. It is no surprise to me now, leaving this room, why you've done what you've done, and why you are who you are. It makes a lot of sense. So you should feel really proud of what you've achieved. You've done an awesome job. and I know you're really well respected in the industry. I feel like you earn every bit of it. So congratulations. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy, and you'll see you on the next one.
Appreciate it.
Cheers. That is the Business Simple podcast. Really awesome episode. If you're a first-time listener, thank you for joining, especially if you've come in through Sam and his networks. If you're a returning listener, thank you also, maybe even a little bit more. I appreciate the loyalty and listening to the episodes. Don't forget to give us a subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, follow us on socials. We're posting clips there and teasers and things like that at future episodes. Once again, appreciate your time and listening. Appreciate your time, Sam. Thank you very much, everyone.